Welcome back to another episode of the unchARTed podcast where we talk about art and the artists behind it. And today is no different. I have with me, I didn't even ask you. How do you pronounce your last name?
unchARTed. Oh, this is unchARTed. Yeah. No. I get that a lot. Livecchi.
Livecchi.
Yeah, there you go.
Sophia Livecchi.
Thank you.
Cool. So, first and foremost, I just want to ask you, who are you? Can you just tell me a little bit about yourself and your background?
Yeah, definitely. My name's Sophia. I just turned 23 in June. I'm a multidisciplinary artist and designer with a background in environmental studies and urban livability. But I've been doing art my entire life, and I recently found the medium of mural painting this past January when I got my first big mural commission in Brooklyn.
Okay. So how did you come across that mural commission?
Yeah, so it was kind of a wild story. At the time, I was doing marketing work for a company and just feeling pretty drained and like an office situation full time. I hadn't done anything creative in about, I don't know, maybe even a year. And so I booked a rug making class in Brooklyn that I found on Tik Tok. I was like, all right, I'm going to make a rug. I'm going to do something creative.
Yeah.
Went to Brooklyn, did a rug design, and the owner of the studio ended up coming up to me, and we started talking, and he was like, I really like your rug style. Are you an artist? And at that point in my life, I didn't have the confidence to call myself an artist, or I didn't feel like I could because I didn't have an arts degree or anything. And so I was just like, oh, I kind of do art as a hobby, haha.
Yep.
And he was like, well, I really like your work a lot. And then I just kind of threw it out there, being like, well, if you ever need art for any sort of reason, please let me know. And then he was like, I'm actually looking for a muralist. Can you send me some more of your work examples? And then 2 months later, I was in his new studio doing an 800 square foot mural, and I had left my marketing job.
Wow. So is it safe to say that's like the moment when you knew, like, okay, art is it? That's what I'm going to do.
Definitely. That was the moment where I was like, I mean, I had never done a painting larger than like 3 feet before. And now I was doing 3 14 by 19 foot paintings.
Yeah.
And something just clicked. Yeah, during that commission for sure.
Got you. Cool. So how would you describe your style overall?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I would describe it as creating an ultra reality, like escaping the rigid structures of our society and just creating kind of different utopias. The kind of doodles or the stuff that you see in my art now is doodles that I've been doing all throughout school on paper when I wasn't listening to classes or I'm not as engaged in high school. The things that came to me were really fluid-like figures and characters that, I don't know, maybe kind of look like aliens to some. I get a lot of Keith Haring references, which is a huge compliment, but just kind of fluid, playful, ultra reality, kind of trying to get my viewers to step out of their own realities and what society looks like and just depict a different type of world and experience for them.
Got you. So it's actually funny that you say some people mention aliens, because that was going to be one of my questions. I was going to ask you, like, if you believe in aliens or anything like that, because that's the vibe I get from those figures. So, Do you believe in aliens?
I do. So weirdly enough, I have a huge fear of space. I'm just very scared of the concept that we're just this small globe and there's so much outside of us, but that's a whole other conversation. But I lived in New Mexico for a period of my life, and the alien Area 51 presence was super heightened. But I definitely believe in different creatures and worlds, and I don't know what that looks like, but yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. So another thing I noticed is that you specifically picked that they all have like 3 digits. Does that number 3 have any kind of significance to you, or is that just how it happened to be?
That's so funny. Do you mean 3 in terms of like the toes or the fingers on my creatures, or?
Yes.
Okay. I wish there was some deep purpose in the number 3, but I think the main thing is it's just not 5. So like,
okay.
Just being not human related, like as far of a different world as possible. And I think I don't know. 3 has just always come to me when drawing. Sometimes 4 in some of my work, but you're right, it is mostly 3, but that's not purposeful, no.
Okay, all right, cool. So, how did you like actually develop that style, or those characters, and like because your style is very unique. It's very you, So it's like, how'd you come up with that?
I think that for me, so I didn't go to art school. Whenever I did art, it was, my downtime, or times where I could escape and do art either outside of school or work. So the last thing I wanted to draw was something realistic, and worry about right shading, or does this person actually look like this person, and just bring the pressures of reality into the thing that was supposed to relax me. So my work really came to me as a way to escape society, and I guess that's what my work looks like in terms of just fluid curves and creatures and nature. Nature is a big part of my work. I'm very inspired by nature and interacting with the environment, and I don't know, I think my work is my ideal utopia, maybe.
Okay. All right. So is that maybe a message that you're trying to send through your work, is like having some type of world like that, or I don't know, what is your overall? I'm sorry, go ahead.
So I think another big part of like who I am as a person is having like highly intensive ADHD, which is another reason why I think my work looks the way it does and is very fluid, and also being queer, and so trying to depict work that isn't gendered and is just creatures existing and moving through space. I think that's another huge important aspect of my work, is like my own identity and how I represent myself within my worlds and work.
Okay. All right. Tell me this. How do you choose your colors for different projects that you're working on?
Yeah, very, very good question. And that's one of my favorite parts of doing murals, is the color scheme. And normally the work that you see on my Instagram has been 10 different color schemes before I decided on that one.
Okay.
For my Hartford mural, I used a lot of blues, reds, and purples. And I was literally sitting in the parking lot of the paint store the same day, like 2 hours before I was supposed to be in Hartford, and I changed the entire color scheme. It was originally greens and oranges and warm colors, and I just was like, I'm feeling cool colors. So I think I first start with, does this piece to me represent warmth or coolness, I guess?
Okay.
And definitely I choose my colors kind of based on nature. I definitely gravitate towards a lot of greens.
Okay.
And landscape-esque nature environments. But at the end of the day, it really is reflective of my own mood at the time and the kind of mood that I'm wanting to represent. I don't know if that answers it properly. There's no, mathematical equation to how I choose my color palette. But it is one of my favorite parts about murals and doing art, is the color.
Okay. Do you have a favorite color?
It's a good question. Growing up, it was lavender and purple. Okay. Now I love the color of, if you can imagine golden hour, like around, I don't know, 5 or 6 p.m. and how the sunlight hits trees, like that vibrant green color. I would say that's my favorite color right now. But it's constantly changing depending on what part of my life I'm in, I would say.
Got you. Are you open for commissions right now?
Yes, I am. I'm open to, so I have a couple commissions that are coming up, but I usually take on everything that I can and then make it work. But yeah, large paintings for homes and murals are what I'm most interested in doing right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. So just out of curiosity on the business side of things, how do you go about pricing your work?
Yes, that's definitely something I really struggle with. And unfortunately for emerging artists and artists without a business background like myself or a fine arts background like myself, it's a lot of trial and error. And it's hard. But so for murals, I price my murals by the square footage, and also factoring in if this is a small business, nonprofit, or is this a larger company with more money. Like the financial aspects behind the companies are important to weigh in as well. And also the time it takes to travel to these sites. You know, is it 5 minutes away from my house or 3 hours away from my house? Will I need accommodations? Things like that. But for murals, typically, square footage is the overarching factor in what determines the price of my work.
Okay, cool. So about how many of those are you doing every year?
Yeah, okay. So I had my first mural this past January, so I've been doing murals for, I guess, 10 months now. 11 months now, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Since then, I have done 7 murals, and by the end of this year, I have 4 other mural commissions. So if all those pan out in the way that they should, I guess I would have done 11 murals this year, and then probably at least 10 larger painting commissions. And then I also have a part-time job as a content creator. So I'm doing a bunch of multidisciplinary stuff, but in terms of murals, 7 as of right now. Yeah.
Okay. So you said you have a part-time job as a content creator. So is that based around art, or is that based around something else?
It's based around social media marketing, and also creating their logo, creating their website, creating marketing collateral such as business cards, informational packets, brochures, newsletters. So half of it is super creative, which I love, and then the other half is like creating TikToks, managing their Instagram, making sure we're gaining followers and getting orders and people involved in the business. So yeah.
Okay. So how long have you been doing that?
I've been doing that since July.
Okay. And that's working out. It's like you're able to really monetize off of that in a way that you're happy with in a short period of time?
For the part-time job?
Yeah.
Definitely. This job has been, it's fully remote. It pays well. It gives me a steady income every week, whereas murals don't.
So this is for like a company?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got you. Well, that's cool though. That's cool. I'm thinking like you're like, no, I got this TikTok thing going on the side, and I'm like you're a content creator like that. That's why I was asking, is it based around art? Got you.
So, yeah.
But do you make any videos or anything like that for YouTube, or is it just your Instagram?
So I have a TikTok, but the part that I'm finding really challenging is I just wish I had, it's hard to be painting the mural and then in the back of your head thinking, I have to be taking a picture of this. I have to be recording this. and I don't have a tripod or anything yet. And so my main priority is like making sure the mural's looking good. And I normally am lucky that I have a close friend or a parent around to take videos of me and pictures, but that's not always the case. That's one of my biggest struggles is, how do I record myself right now? Or how do I do both at the same time? Paint a wall while worrying about putting this on my Instagram and making TikToks, and it's juggling so many different things.
Yeah, it can definitely be a headache where you literally have to tell yourself to stop what you're doing, even though it might mess up the creative flow for a second. It's like,
right.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I got to get this shot, got to get this angle or whatever. So, yeah, it's definitely easy to get into the zone and then be like, oh, man, I missed everything I was supposed to record. Like, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, I was just going to say that the biggest blessing is when I have someone there taking videos for me. It's, yeah, it makes life really great.
Got you. You feel like you're almost at that point where you're ready to pay, and when those budgets come, those same people, if they're interested, can be the first ones in line, you know? And
definitely, yeah. And I'm very passionate about giving people opportunities that don't have mural painting experience or don't have a fine arts background and want experience in this world, because it can be really hard to get a mural job if you don't have mural experience. Yep. And so that's something that I'm really passionate about, is making sure we're giving people jobs who are just as talented as the person who has that degree or 20 murals under their belt, but just doesn't have the exposure. So
yeah, for sure. And you know, just to kind of double back to how you said you didn't go to school for art, as far as learning techniques and stuff, was it just trial and error, or is there like a YouTube channel that you used to watch faithfully, or how did you go about building your skills?
Yeah, so well, yeah, that's a good question. I would say a lot of trial and error.
Okay.
A ton of trial and error. I'm originally from California, so I didn't do art for the first half of my life because I was constantly outside. And then my family moved to Connecticut, and I had 4 months of what do I do with my time? Yeah. My family doesn't ski at all. I was just sitting inside being like, what is winter? I hate this, but then finding art. And then of course I had art class in high school, just like your standard art, like public school art class. And then Skidmore College, the school that I went to, is pretty well known for art. And so I took 2 or 3 art classes at Skidmore while I was there, which were very helpful with technique and stuff. So yeah. Okay,
got you. Is there a technique that you're currently practicing or learning right now?
It's a good question. Well, I guess something that I'm trying to do with my mural work, and what I'm realizing, is that I want to create not only 2D work in murals, but 3-dimensional spaces, kind of based off what I was telling you, how my art feels like utopia or a different reality. I want to take that to the next level and learn how to use programs like AutoCAD and Revit and kind of get more into interior architecture. And actually designing and building interior spaces is like the long term of how I hope my career ends up panning out. So I would say the past 2 weeks haven't been a lot of me painting, but me on my computer researching how to move my work from a 2D space into a 3D space.
So do you do any kind of digital art?
Yeah, so through my job, I do logo design and business card design, web design. I've taught myself how to use like Procreate and all the Adobe Illustrator and design, stuff like that. So for most of my previous jobs, it's been required that I know some sort of digital design skills in terms of making marketing campaigns. And all of my murals start on Procreate and Illustrator. So I will draw them out by hand and then upload them to my iPad or computer and then digitally illustrate them.
Do you ever consider making anything that just stays digital, but that is not for work? This is like your own art, you know, something that you drew on your tablet maybe? Do you ever consider doing that?
So not even for a mural commission, just like for me.
Yeah, or it could be because you want to make it to like an NFT, for example.
Right.
Something like that. Like, have you ever considered doing that?
NFTs for sure. It's on my list. It's on my to-do list basically every day. Learn NFTs, and then I just skip it because it feels so daunting and scary. But that's a really good question, and I need to get better at making work for me, because art used to just be my hobby and my thing outside of work, and now it is my work. So remembering to carve time to just doodle and make paintings for myself is something I actually don't think I've done at all this year.
It's important. It's like making time for yourself or whatever, you know what I mean? But within your creative space. Overall, what would you say is the impact that art has made on your life up to this point?
Good question. I mean, such a large impact. In school, it was really hard for me to connect with a lot of subjects. I had a hard time in academic spaces. And the art room was always the space where I felt most comfortable in and the most inspired by. And once I got into muraling, I feel like murals combine my love for repurposing and revitalizing spaces, which goes hand in hand with what I studied in school, like environmental studies and urban livability and sustainability, and also community building, social justice, public art. Murals do all of that and have so much potential for creating space for people, creating accessible spaces, repurposing spaces. It just checks every box in my head of what's important to me and what I admire about our world. So it's made a huge impact on the course of my life.
Nice. So are there any young people around you that try to emulate you and what you do? And if so, what advice would you give to them because they want to be an artist like Sophia when they grow up?
Wow, I don't think I'm there yet. I don't know. I'd like to think hopefully maybe my sister looks up to me. I don't know. She's younger. Advice I give younger artists. It's a hard field. It's an intimidating field, but that shouldn't stop you from doing it. And the best thing that I've done to get where I am today, and I mean, I still want to grow so much more and accomplish so much more, but is putting yourself out there. And at the end of the day, I don't do art because I think I'm good at it or for the clout or whatever it is. I do it because I love doing it. And that's the thing that brings me the most joy. So just remember to do art for you and not carry the weight of other people's opinions of your work. And because your opinion is the most important at the end of the day. And just to really put yourself out there and not be scared of getting rejected, because you will be getting rejected a lot. I get so many rejections every day, or even worse, like no responses. But how I've gotten most of my mural projects is by cold emailing places and going in person to stores. Hi, I'm Sophia. I'm an artist. I see this blank wall you have. Like, let's do something with it. You have to be able to do that. And if you aren't confident in yourself at the time, fake it. Like, I had to fake it in the beginning. Calling yourself an artist, that took me 23 years to do comfortably, and I stutter sometimes, but faking it until you make it.
Okay, but I mean, all of that was great advice, and especially like what you said about putting yourself out there, because like you said, your very first mural just happened because you just put yourself out there, and you just so happened to get a great response in a short amount of time, you know. So if you would never said that, right, we might not be talking right now. Who knows? Like
we definitely wouldn't be. I mean, even CT Murals, I started contacting in March, being like, I want to do murals. I'm really new to this, but I want to be a part of your organization, and nothing panned out until September. You know, that it took however many months for them to, I guess follow my work. I tagged them in every mural that I did, unapologetically sending them messages like twice a month. And it pays off. Even if it's not in the immediate moment, it will come back to you. It just takes time to build momentum.
For sure. So are you part of the art club with Rise Up CT Murals?
I'm not, and I really want to be. I'm like an hour and a half away from Hartford. So it would be tougher for me to make the meetings. But that event that we did, Parkville Paints, that mural project was just incredible. And so I want to be a part of more things like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's what actually where we met. And that was I've never been to anything like that before. So that's the part about this podcast that I'm having so much fun with. It's like I'm finding out things that are happening that have, you know, things like this, I guess, have been going on for a while, but I never knew. I just never knew. So that was a good time though. Just to see it. Everybody has
so good.
Yeah, different perspective, different.
Yeah. As artists, it can also be a very isolating field. It's just you creating a lot of the time in your studio or room or wherever you are. So to get out there and meet other people was just so great.
But that's a big part of their mission is, you know, building community. So I think they're definitely doing a good job with building that within Connecticut for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, well, I don't want to hold you much longer. Can you just tell me how people can get in contact with you if they would like some work?
Yeah, no, for sure. You can, so I'm mostly posting on my Instagram, which is @SophLive, SophLive. You can email me at Livecchi, Sophia@gmail.com. I guess email or through Instagram. Please don't hesitate to reach out, even if you're not looking to, you know, have a commission done, but just want to talk or about murals or art or anything that you've heard in this podcast that interests you. Please do reach out, and I would love to hear from anybody about anything.
Cool. I appreciate your time. And I'm going to be in your DM shortly. I'll just need a few like pictures and things like that for the thumbnail and everything. All right.
Can I just say, I really, really appreciate you and taking the time to interview artists. It's so nice to be listened to and heard and valued. And this is an art that you're doing as well. So thank you for doing this.
Oh yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Okay.